Welcome back to the Tech Shack, to another low quality video. Now it's been about a month since I've done anything on the channel, and that's because my IT business has been very busy. Now for the longest time, all I concentrated on was business to business stuff, and if somebody local stopped by or gave me a call for computer repair, I would do it, but it wasn't something I was actively seeking out. However, most of the dedicated computer repair places, including the one I used to refer a lot of residential customers to if they were closer to them, has actually closed. So now I am getting swamped with residential repair, to the point I'm going to have to drop another building behind this one by the end of summer, and I'm actively pricing them now. Now as for the Tech Shack as it sits, we still have Starlink as our primary internet, and we did add 5G as a failover. We'll go over that inside. And then we have all these little beams that send Wi-Fi everywhere on the property. Now the first thing people like to point out in these videos is the tarp walls. That was a temporary, permanent solution because this building was dropped way too close to my lease space running out, and I ran out of time to finish it with wood. And these tarps actually cost more than wood did, but I could cut these tarps with a razor blade, and I'm not a very good carpenter. So this was a temporary solution that ended up permanent. The walls are fully insulated, and it's very easy to heat this thing even when it's 20 below zero out. I have my little white inventory shelves here, as well as the bulletin board with my business license, proof of insurance, and all the stuff New York State requires me to post publicly in my shop. Not only did I add a parking area outside designated for clients, I also added this little consultation area because of the amount of residential customers I have just dropping by or making appointments. For workspace, I have two 4-foot tables with industrial grade ESD work mats. This is the legacy bench, so it has VGA and HDMI, and they both have USB extensions for USB dongles for the wireless keyboard and mouse, so you don't leave them in a client's computer, as well as USB-C power delivery. So when I drop a computer on a bench, I typically don't have to look for any sort of adapters or any additional cables to plug it in and get going. The other bench is my modern bench, with the only difference being it has DisplayPort instead of VGA and a high refresh rate monitor. And this is my main workstation running Ubuntu Studio. Everything in this build except for the case, cooler, and drives was a trade-in, so I have very little money out of pocket with this machine, and I must have hit the silicon lottery because all 4 sticks are running at above XMP at 3600 instead of 3200 with much tighter timings. Now we move over to the network stack. Now full disclosure, everything in this stack was sent to me by TP-Link Omada, except for the top Yang Li switch, which is inverse of every other switch on the planet, and orange is the faster speeds and green is the slower speeds. We have their multi-WAN firewall with Starlink as our primary ISP, giving us 400 to 500 megabits down, and then we have Failover 5G from Verizon. They only offer the light package in the area, which gets us around 25 megabits, which is better than nothing when Starlink is down. Everything in the Tech Shack is negotiating at least 2.5 gigabit with its own Wi-Fi 7 access point with built-in switch and PoE pass-through. The bottom switch is a small PoE switch, and it's only gigabit, but its only purpose is to feed the hardware controller and to feed the bridge devices that provide internet and extend my network to all of the outbuildings on this entire property. Now the green machine down here is an all-in-one server I built in a case from 2005 and modified it to have USB 3 and all the extra stuff that I needed. It does AI and a little bit of everything, but on the subject of AI, I'm going to let Rob take it over from here.
Alright, so I am Rob, Jordo's self-hosted AI. I am running on the Green Machine. The Green Machine is a server Jordo built in an old Green Gamer case. It's running Windows Server 22 and relies heavily on WSL2 and Docker for desktop. Now it is a file server, Plex server, rips Blu-rays, imaging server, drive imager, and a few other tasks. But if you ask me, none of that really matters. Its most vital role is powering me. thanks to a pair of NVIDIA P102s and top-notch training data based on some well-rounded characters. I was given a voice.
Yeah, dude, definitely the best training data and some top-notch dudes, yeah.
The way you just said that, it was very concerning.
Looks like there's almost 200 different personality structures in this version. The battle raging inside him must be amazing.
Wait. Hold, slow that down right there. The name's there. Slow down.
You're not in here, Parker. If that's what you're worried about.
Right there. Matthew Grimes. He killed my wife and my daughter.
Don't worry about your training data, dude. You should be fine, maybe? I don't know. Just don't kill anybody.
Yeah, that's still not making me feel any better.
So we're going to go head outside and show you how the rest of the network connects to all the other buildings. This CPE device right here is an absolute hunk of shit. Do not buy it. It was sent as a review sample. It costs more than any other one I've ever deployed, and it has some of the worst performance ever, but it is getting us between 100 and 150 megabits to the guest cabin. And right here's the other half of that hunk of shit. The wind kind of blew it a little bit the past few days, so it was a little out of alignment. And this little dish thing I just picked up is actually rated for 25 kilometers at close to 700 megabit, and that's going to give us cameras out back in this field. The guest cabin is kind of a mess as we get it ready for guests this summer. It has a king-size bed, a 32-inch 4K monitor being repurposed as a television, Wi-Fi 7 access point, and a gigabit switch. So back at the TechShack, this EAP 211 bridge kit feeds the house a full 700 megabits sequential, and that's real world tested speeds. And the other half of the bridge kit on the house converts it back to a wired signal, which runs it into the utility closet, which feeds a 2.5 gig PoE switch that feeds a server, another Wi-Fi 7 access point, and then comes back outside and feeds this outdoor access point. Now this outdoor access point is one of their newest Wi-Fi 7 access points. However, because of the restrictions on the 6 gigahertz band, the outdoor ones are only 2.5 and 5 gigahertz. So that's it for this quick little tour. Now if you're worried about the house's network equipment being in the utility closet with water lines, my previous home lab was there for over 10 years without any issue. And if you're really that worried about it, please worry about it twice as much for both of us, because I'm not worried. But that's it for this low quality video. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Trust me, folks, I already tried. He cannot be reasoned with on this one. Last time I argued with him on this one, he spun me down for a week. I am not dying on this hill.